today we're going to review Spider-Man Supreme, and I really like this guy. I feel like there's a lot to love about this champion. A lot of people kind of have mixed feelings on him so far, but for me, I fully feel like he is a phenomenal addition to the game, and I'm going to explain to you all why in this video. So I'm going to split it into a couple categories. We have offense, of course, we have utility, defense, prestige, sig ability, and just like my overall thoughts on the character as a whole. Now, offensively, I feel like his damage is fine. I feel like with Mystic Dispersion, he just goes from a fine damage dealer to a great one. And when he can steal even just one Fury buff, his damage just like skyrockets. The more he can steal, the more his damage just like becomes insane, right? Like, I wouldn't call him niche in the sense that he needs the Fury buffs, but it is a pretty significant increase in damage if you can steal Fury buffs. And with MD, it's a pretty noticeable damage difference as well. So I feel like you do want MD for him, because in scenarios where he can like gain power off of the opponent's buffs, then he will be doing a lot more damage than usual, because he can just be spamming SP2s. SP2s are like your biggest form of damage when you're in the Spider Totem spell. So yeah, I feel like damage-wise, he's a great damage dealer. Probably not the best in the Mystic class when it comes to damage, because there's the likes of Longshot, Wiccan, Tigra, the usual suspects. But in certain scenarios, he actually can be like the best Mystic damage dealer, just because when he can steal a lot of Fury buffs, his damage is almost incomparable to other champions. Now let's talk about utility. His utility is very good. He has a lot of niche things and a lot of unique things. Like, one unique thing that he has is the fact that he reduces the opponent's ability power rate by 33% per unique buff on them. So, like, a Hyperion that has, like, one extra buff will just be completely shut off, and that is, like, a very strong thing that Spider-Man does. Another thing that he does is he has this thing called the Blessing of the Web. And the Blessing of the Web is how you steal the Furies, Armor Ups, Pierce buffs, and even more buffs. He can steal a lot of buffs with the Blessing of the Web, and additionally, on his SP1, he reduces the potency of said buffs by 95%. So that is a pretty awesome way to like stop buffs. He doesn't really have access to Nullify besides nullifying his Spider Seals. Other than that, though, he is a bit like on the niche side of utility. There's like nothing that he does that is like a very general thing. Like, you know, the ability power rate is pretty niche. The Blessing of the Web is very niche. He does have a failsafe on his Blessing of the Astral Form. That is a pretty good failsafe. I would like say that makes him a bit less squishy, which I'll talk about later, which is one of my downsides of him, to be honest. And yeah, so overall, I feel like he is a good utility character as well. These next three sections are going to go by very quickly. I just need to talk about them real quick, though. Like, on defense, I feel like he is not the best defender, just because the Blessing of the Astral Form, you just need a miscounter. Like, it's very easy to fight this guy, pretty much, because his SP1 is nothing crazy to dodge. His SP2, honestly, just don't push him there. But I know that he can be troubling with Mystic Dispersion, as is any Mystic, but I feel like he's not the hardest character to fight overall. So if you were looking for a defense rank up, maybe I would lean towards the likes of Mangog, Mojo, Man-Thing, those guys, over Spider-Man Supreme first. Now let's talk about his prestige. His prestige is the 5th highest in the game, so if you are pushing for Alliance Quest, he is a good rank up to do, because he is the 5th highest prestige. That is pretty massive. Your prestige is the top 5 of your characters, so if you have the first 4 already, which is, I believe, Infamous Iron Man, Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer, and Quicksilver. It's not in that order, by the way, but he is number 5. He comes right after them, so he would, like, be in your profile no matter what. There is only 4 characters higher than him, so if you do rank him up, he will guaranteed affect your prestige. And of course, we have to talk about the signature ability if we talk about prestige. So all my gameplay so far has been of a Sig 18 Spider-Man Supreme, and I feel really bad for not telling you all that, because his signature ability is very good. It is a very strong one, and I do suggest max sigging it, because it is a very good signature ability to invest in. It increases his burst damage, which people will say that damage is the biggest complaint that they have for Spider-Man Supreme, but it also provides some other benefits as well, like increasing your buff potency of the Blessing of the Web buffs that you steal, which can be awesome because his Fury buffs are already pretty potent, but giving them increased potency just makes him an even better damage dealer. So I feel like his signature ability is very solid to invest in, and he has the prestige to back it up as well. So I feel like if you do want to rank this character, that you really should go for max sigging him, just because it'll help you in both his overall usefulness and in your prestige. So now it's time for my overall thoughts on him and some complaints. So some complaints that I would have is the fact that he is so squishy, man. He is so squishy. Yeah, it is just it's a pain because he is like one of the lowest healths in the entire game, and he has like 56% block efficiency, right? Then again, he does have the blessing of the Astral Form, which is a very awesome failsafe, and it allows you to intercept freely, which means you don't really have to worry about like losing health if you just intercept with the Astral Form. So there are like pros and cons to it, but just the fact that it's such a low health that means like you can't really mess up with him, it really does affect my view of the character just a little bit. Another thing would be that like sometimes you have to change your mastery setup very often with him, and let me explain why. So with Mystic Dispersion, his damage when there's like very minimal buffs is very solid. But in a fight where you have to steal a lot of Fury buffs, which is like the way to get his maximum damage output, you will be shooting up to SP3s very often, and it is very annoying to deal with. So in like those fights, I wouldn't even suggest having MD on. But in regular fights, I suggest that you do have it on. So like there's gonna be a lot of mastery switching with him. Like if you do like a path that has sometimes Fury buffs, but sometimes it's just a regular fight, it can be annoying to switch masteries constantly with him. And I also feel like he is not the most recoil masteries friendly champion. Of course, he doesn't have any immunities to them. He is a bit of a special spammer. You can go for the SP3 rotation, but it's not going to be the same, right? It's going to be a lot different in damage. I feel like it's just like not even worth it at that point because you can do more damage with the SP2 spam and having no recoil masteries. So if you are a die-hard recoil masteries player, he is not your champion. I think that's about all the complaints I have. I understand that he is a niche character, so I won't like complain about him not having too much general utility. I know his use in the game is for niche things, not really for just a general quester, even though I feel like he does have the damage to be a general quester overall. So overall, I just feel like he is a great addition to the game. I feel like he does have a use in the game, which is of course something to always look for a new character. Some characters just like don't have use in the game, so that's why they get written off immediately. But I feel like this champion does have use, and it's mainly to cheese stuff, but he does have some other utility to back it up as well. And yeah, I just feel like he's overall a pretty solid character. Now, I don't really do like ratings from 1 to 10, so I can't really go based off that, but I would say from like a bad to a best of the best perspective, he is just like a good character, you know? Like not really the best of his class, but he's just a solid addition to the game overall in my opinion. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Spidey Supreme. I really like him. I feel like I want to explore this character more, so hopefully I can get him as a 6-star. I can just like make more videos on the 5-star, and yeah, that's about it for me.